Kia ora, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 34 of Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain.
You all right?
Hello, folks. Yep, we're all right. It's a bit dark in here, so I've got the lights on for the first time. It's horrible.
Someone's
it's
home.
like it's the middle of the day. Well, let's see if I'm home. I'm ready for this. Yes.
I should have said at the start, May the 3rd be with you, because,
yes. Because,
Everyone does that now, Star Wars Day. Yeah, it'll probably be the 4th. I was doing that May the 4th be with you about 30 years ago. Everyone seems to be doing it now. So there we go. So I don't anymore. No. So what have you been up to?
Oh, what have we been up to? I don't know, really. It's been quiet. I guess you could say that. I don't know.
It's a bit soggy up there, eh?
Soggy. There is that. It wasn't as bad as it was supposed to be. It's just gone for duration rather than size of rain, basically. So I think it's got to be this dark and gloomy for quite some time. But we put it all behind us and resort to culture and same for TV for hours and all that stuff. Yeah. So we've got some culture catch-ups, incidental things to do. We've got a couple of people we've said goodbye to talk about, I think. Bit of ranting. As trailed in the previous episode, our choices for downsizing when we move to our tiny house. There's no room to put stuff. But we'll come to that later on.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll kick off. So I've had a spot of the old COVID since the last episode. So that hit me quite hard, really. So I was laid up. But of course, that means you've got the chance to do stuff. So I managed to get through 2 books last week, which is unheard of for me. I'm not a quick reader at all. But I managed to get through a couple. So I'll show you this one, which has been on the list for ages and finally got round to it.
Oh, yes.
For those not watching, I'm holding up a copy of Bob Mortimer's autobiography, And Away. It's marvellous. You've read it, haven't you?
I have, yes.
It's marvellous. It's just marvellous. What a guy. I wish Bob was my mate. He's a top man. That was a good read. I went through that in no time. It was just, if you're any sort of a fan of any of Bob's work, then you'll find something in there to enjoy, I'm sure. The other book I got through, which is again it's been sitting on my bookshelf for quite a while, and I've just picked it up last week, given that I had COVID and I was struggling to read to breathe. I started reading this book. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's called Breath, by a guy called James Nestor, who's a sort of science journalist type guy. And he went on this journey catching up with all these experts around the world to talk about breathing. This book's all about breathing and how most of us are not breathing properly, and how breathing properly can really help your blood pressure and your health in general. It can cure asthma and it can stop snoring and all those things. So it's all about his kind of travels, learning about breathing from cutting edge science right back to kind of yoga kind of breathing stuff. So it all goes back thousands of years. It's stuff that certain cultures have been doing for many years. But it's really interesting read, and there's a lot of his stuff on YouTube as well. So so I've changed the way I'm breathing, and it's all right. Don't breathe through your mouth, breathe through your nose, basically, is the long and the short of it. A bit hard to do when you're asleep. I tried So what he suggests in this book is you tape your mouth shut when you go to bed.
What?
Yeah. So I thought I'll try that. It was tricky while I had COVID, because it was all a bit wheezy. Yeah. But so I tried it. I got a bit of this micropore medical tape stuff, and I put it just over my mush.
Had you pre-warned? Pre-warned Natasha that you were going to do this? Or
I was still in isolation.
You were just going to walk in. Okay.
We had one of those weird COVID situations where 3 of us had it and 1 didn't. So it makes isolating a bit tricky. So I was in another bedroom because Tash didn't have it, but everyone else did. So anyway, I put this tape over my mouth and it was all right. Fine, I went off to sleep. It didn't bother me at all. But I woke up in the morning, it was stuck to the back of my hand. So I must have just gone, get off.
Just gone down enough.
Enough so that was the last of that. So I got through a couple of books. I'm cracking on with my my TV stuff that you'll know about. So Ted Lasso, that keeps ticking along. The trip to Amsterdam was the last episode and the latest episode, and that's probably the best episode yet. I reckon it's brilliant. A little team trip to Amsterdam. Breaking Bad and Happy Valley. I'm very nearly at the end. Got a couple of episodes of each of those, and then I'm done. And somehow we ended up. I don't know if you've heard of this. There's a series on Apple TV called Schmigadoon. If anyone out there has heard of this,
no, I don't think so.
No, right. Well, it's a. How can I explain it? So it's about this couple, and their relationship's not going so well. So they go off to this retreat to sort it out, and they get lost in the woods, and they come to this bridge, and they cross this bridge, and they end up in this land. It looks like Oz. It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. This bright land, colourful land, and they've moved in. They've found themselves living in a musical.
Yeah,
and everyone's singing and dancing. It's the most camp, the most camp TV show I've ever seen in my life. I'm not really watching it. The females of the house are watching it more than I am, but it's really interesting and worth watching an episode or two because I've never seen anything quite like it before.
Nice.
But yeah, Schmigadoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll see.
And apart from that, music-wise, so I've been listening to Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Now, I know the name Lana Del Rey. She's been around for a long time, but
lots of albums.
A few albums. I've never listened to her before, and I don't know if I don't know anything about her. So is she like 12-year-olds listen to her or grown-ups listen to her? I don't know anything about her, but I saw she had a new album out. It came up on my Spotify, so I've been listening to it. It's all right. I don't know if you've listened to it. Have you? It's called Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah,
it's really all right. It's good.
It's really long.
Yeah.
I have listened to her before, and I think I even bought one. Honeymoon was the album that I bought, and I liked more than any of the others. And I know we're going to do high watermarks and stuff. It may be upsetting a lot of people to think that I thought that was the high watermark, and all the ones ever since have not quite grabbed me as much as that one did.
Right.
But that's not to say that she's very popular and very prolific. I think all her albums are good investments. They have lots of
get your money's
tracks on
worth.
them, and you do get your money's worth. NFR was the one previous to that. Norman Expletive Rockwell, which was pretty good too.
Oh, okay. No, I've never really gone there before, but I will. I'll dig into the back catalogue a bit as well.
Yeah, have a crack at the Honeymoon album. When the first ones came out, Ultraviolence, was that the first album?
I don't know. There was one album that was everywhere, wasn't it? Yeah.
10 or something. She was fantastically hip and trendy at that particular time. But now she's what you might call a sort of established artist. Does trendiness fade away as you become established? I'm not really sure.
So if your music's all right, I suppose you get past that, don't you? And the music speaks for itself, I suppose. But so that was something a bit different for me. So that's good. What about yourself? What have you been consuming?
It's a lot of old fluff, really. Nothing was too important. But there were a couple of things that I found on YouTube. Some enlightened person has illegally uploaded all of the BBC documentaries hosted or featuring the American comedian Rich Hall, which is great because I like him. He is one of the greatest one-liners of all time, I think. It says, good things come to those who wait, but shit pretty much turns up straight away. It's one of his I like. But he has the sort of wry humour turned up to the max. And I watched the ones on the history of the Wild West, I think, and history of country music as well. They're all about 90 minutes long, and those two were great. I shall be tuning in to watch the others in a spare moment because I missed them. But you said, I think you did see them when you were in the UK.
Yeah, I think I saw them when they first came on TV.
Totally missed all of them.
Yeah.
So that's catching up for me. And the other thing I watched, sometimes when you're on Netflix or wherever, a martial arts style movie is the only thing that does the job, really. If Saturday night and there's maybe no one else in the house, everybody else has gone out to do their thing. You just think, what can I watch? Oh no, I'll go and watch some violence.
Yeah.
And I found a film on Netflix called Kill Boksoon, and I apologise in advance here for my more than likely bad pronunciation of Korean names. But Jun Do-yeon, who is apparently South Korea's version of Meryl Streep, an equally prestigious actress, stars as Kill Boksoon, who is a middle-aged single mum to a teenage daughter. And everyone in her life thinks that she's some kind of events company executive because she dresses well and organises events. But the events she organises are contract killings, and she is in fact lethal. So on the one hand, you have this tale of mother-teenage-daughter relationships full of angst and all that. And then behind that, you've got John Do-yeon going out and murdering people.
Excellent.
And getting money for it. It's a great trade-off kind of thing. It is perhaps a bit long. I have to say, my usual bugbear of, it's over 2 hours. Yeah. But in this particular case, I piled in and watched it, and it's a very stylized film, but the human moments in it kind of offset the ridiculous violence and gang warfare that goes off in the background. So I quite enjoyed that one. Kill Boksoon, it's called, and it's on Netflix. Yes.
Sounds all right, doesn't it? Actually, you just reminded me about just flicking through Netflix when everyone else has gone to bed. You ever watched any of the Song Exploder?
One or two. I watched them all, but I picked one or two out, and that's quite good. Yeah,
it's good. They're only like 25 minutes, aren't they? And I watched the one on Losing My Religion, REM. Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah,
it's cool.
Good series. That. If you just want to know the background of some certain songs. Yeah,
all sorts of.
You just reminded me of
pop
that.
Tunes.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Good.
Cool.
Right. Can I have my rant about food now?
Rant about food.
It's not a rant about food. So there's an advert on TV over here. I'm sure it's global. Domino's Pizza. Our new Taste of India range. Right. So you've got this pizza and it's got chicken tikka masala or something on top of it, whatever. Right. And I know pizza companies have done this sort of thing for a long time. Doner kebab pizza and all that. But, I'm sitting there ranting at the telly going, hang on a minute, if I fancy a taste of India, I'm going to get an Indian, right? But then I thought imagine if the Indian restaurants started doing the same thing, a little taste of Italy, right? So you can get a chicken vindaloo with spaghetti.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking.
Instead of rice.
That got me thinking. So you got your staples like rice, pasta, spaghetti, rice, pasta, potatoes, right?
Yeah.
And, you have things with rice like chili or curry with rice. I'd have them with potatoes as well. And I've made a curry with roast potatoes. Yes,
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Or mashed potatoes with a curry.
That's all right.
Would you have a curry with spaghetti?
I don't know.
That don't work.
I can think of one instance where it might work, as if it was a kind of a creamy kind of sauce. So you're going down the lines of not exactly carbonara, obviously, but that kind of texture and colour.
Yeah.
But strictly curry, probably not.
Can't imagine it working with pasta. What about a kind of curry lasagna with like a creamy curry sauce?
No, no. I don't think. I think that's even less likely.
It's appealing.
I think.
But yeah. But I would have Italian food. Well, I do.
Yeah.
So, you'd have a bolognese sauce, for example, with rice.
Yeah.
Or meatballs, or mash, or roast potatoes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was a bit weird. Fancy a taste of India? Come to Domino's Pizza. I was like, no. What I might do is go to the Taj Mahal and get a takeaway from there.
Yeah, probably be better.
So
if you go back to when I used to go and get curries in Bradford back in the day, a curry in a lot of those curry houses was had no frills whatsoever. It was basically curried mince and breads, and maybe a tiny bit of salad to eat at the beginning. And that was it. And you didn't even get cutlery in some of them because you used the bread to scoop up your mince.
Yep.
So I guess you could just chuck in a few pasta spirals into to pad it out a bit.
Yeah.
No, you probably got chased through the streets of Bradford in the 70s if that had happened. So
it's all a bit weird.
Yeah, no.
So I was cooking the next day anyway. It's still on the food thing, unrelated. But I was cooking the next day and I was loosely following this recipe, and it said bay leaves, a bay leaf, and a bay leaf. And I looked in the drawer and just run out of bay leaves. Didn't have it. Then I thought, God, I wish I had the confidence and the balls that bay leaves have got. They march into every recipe and they add nothing to it. You don't need bay. They don't do anything.
And then you have to spend time fishing them out at the end, so nobody eats them. Yeah,
because aren't they kind of hallucinogenic or something if you're not careful? So,
I'd imagine if you, I don't know, one or two probably not, but if you ate a bag full of them, maybe, I'm not sure.
Because I once blended up a soup with one of those stick blender things. I forgot I'd left the bay leaf in it. Yeah. So that got blended in, but no fun was had after that. So
I wonder if you could go and find a local equivalent, because there's horapita and things like that, which are peppery taste. So you could go out and just find a bush in a park,
find a random leaf,
pull a few leaves
the low
off,
ones,
stick them in. No.
Bay leaves, come on! A big bay leaf have got us wrapped around their fingers, haven't they? They don't do anything.
Corporate bay leaf.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Terrible.
Yeah, it's all run by the mafia, I reckon. So anyway, that's that.
Yeah, rant over.
Yeah, and you
I'd like to have a quick rant since we've been talking about pizzas. Barbecue sauce.
Yeah, no,
not ever.
No. Next question.
End of that one.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of RIPs. We lost a couple of.
We did.
Trailblazers.
Giants.
Trailblazers, I guess you would say, in Barry Humphries and Jerry Springer.
You pretty much would. Yeah.
They kind of broke the mould, didn't they, with those two?
I did.
Jerry Springer, is he considered a good guy or a bad guy? Some people think he's a bad guy. I don't. I think he's all right.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? I don't know.
I guess if you approach it from one of the anti-angles that I saw, is that he was the instigator of that kind of television that led to Jeremy Kyle or all those things which are just voyeuristic.
Yeah, and it's exploiting the
awfulness,
the vulnerable, exploiting whatever you want to call these people.
Yeah. Of course, their argument would be, well, they didn't have to come on the show.
Exactly. They're queuing up.
Maybe they did.
List. Yeah.
Did you pay them? Did you pay them to come on the show? Well, maybe they wanted to get paid.
And paternity tests and all that stuff that they get paid for. So, it's a bit. It's not very tasteful, I guess, but it's entertaining, right? It's, we all watch a Jerry Springer show from time to time, and
it was a staggering thing back in the day. It's less so these days because there's so much terrible reality television.
Yeah, you can't shock people anymore, can you?
Not so much.
Naked Attraction, for God's sake, that's it, isn't it? It can't go any lower than that, can it? Can it? Yeah, and Barry Humphries, of course. I don't think we need to say much about that, do we?
No.
Again, not necessarily a great guy in his views off stage. No. There you go. That's what we discover, right? There's lots of people like that out there.
That would also willingly prick the balloon of people he was on talk shows with or things like that if he felt that they were being pretentious or too terrible. So as a sort of corrective in some of those situations, yes, you wanted him to have a go at various people.
Yeah.
You dress a balance. Do we have to balance everything? No, not really. But but I'd groundbreaker and legendary.
It was interesting because he kind of was taking the piss out of Australian culture, but I don't believe it. Australian culture. I think he made that culture actually. Barry Humphries. I don't think they were as bad as he had them. You believe, but they ended up being like that.
He helped. He helped to bring that particular aspects,
bring the stereotypes to life,
of Australian culture to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
He helped that.
So one of a kind there.
Good point. Did you like it, folks? Did you like Barry Humphries, or did you not like Barry Humphries? Let us know.
Let us know.
Be interesting to know.
It's hard not to,
opinion.
I would suggest, but there you go. Who knows? Who knows? All right, should we get on to the main course?
You're right. Let's do that.
Yeah. So you'll remember last time we talked about our new feature, which has taken. I mean, the internet has gone crazy for this. I mean, there's been upwards of 2 people have been in touch
with the promise of a third.
With the promise of a third. No. So the idea of the game is you've just had to move to a tiny little house. You don't have the internet. And you've only got enough space for 1 book, 1 movie, DVD, 1 TV box set, and 1 album. And they've got to do you for the rest of your life. So what you're going to choose. So we've had a few people, a couple of people have given theirs on Twitter. So I'll read those out, shall I? So Richard Betts, Ricardo NZ on Twitter. He's given us his choices, and he went on to say it proved unexpectedly easy. So his choice for a movie was Bringing Up Baby. Don't know if I know that one. Sounds like it's an 80s comedy to me. Bringing Up Baby. Have I got that completely wrong?
We haven't done our research.
No, we haven't. I have on one of them because I've definitely never heard of it. I've heard of Bringing Up Baby, but I don't know, so I can't say.
I know which one you won't have heard of, but fortunately I have.
Okay, good. You can talk on that thing. So I've got Wikipedia up in front of me for that. He also went with The West Wing. Again, one of those shows that passed me by, but I think it's brilliant. Yeah. So I hear. No reason to think it's not. So good choice. Astral Weeks, Van Morrison.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't love it, that record.
I know you don't. I don't think it's the best of Van either. If I had to pick a Van album on the pain of death, it probably wouldn't be that. I would pick It's Too Late to Stop Now. But I fully understand that it's the reverence under which it's held. Interesting stories behind the whole thing, the interaction with the musicians who weren't rock musicians at all. There's a great story there. And if you've never heard it, give it a go.
Maybe it's time for me to give it another go.
It's a classic.
I didn't give it much of a go, to be honest.
You're into jazz now, so there's plenty. Yeah. There must be plenty musically that you can.
Right. Out of if there's chords in there that I can't pronounce, then I'm in. Yeah. And finally, Richard's book was The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon. Don't know it. Never heard of it.
No.
Don't know that one. So, Richard, if you want to come on the show and talk us through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me why I should love Astral Weeks, and you're very much welcome to come on and talk us through. The other one we got, do you want to do Rob's ones? Because you can probably pronounce them better than me. Have you got them in front of you? If not, I have.
No, I haven't got them in front of me.
Okay.
But when you get to the film.
Yep. Okay, I'll leave the film till last. So we've got Rob Morgan, Durutti74 on Twitter. Hello, Rob, regular contributor to our oeuvre. So I'll leave the film till last. So his TV box set, Reggie Perrin, can't really argue with that.
Can't argue that at all.
His album is The Beatles, aka the White Album. Again, can't really argue with that. That'll keep you going. No. There's plenty there. Get your money's worth. And his book is Revolution in the Head. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big read.
It makes us feel it is, but you can dip into it and you can. The discussions prompt an awful lot of thoughts about other things.
Unfortunately, the best way to read that book, in my experience, is to be listening at the same time. But you've only got one album.
He's got part of it.
He's got a bit of it, yeah. So, and the movie, Koyanis Katsi.
Well done, right? Sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would talk us through that, but I'll let you do it.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't.
Well, what is it? It has a classic soundtrack, and it's a sort of collage of extraordinary cinematography. Let's put it that way. Right. How would you put it?
I would put it as Koyaanisqatsi, also known as Life of Balance, is a 1982 American experimental non-narrative film directed and produced by Godfrey Reggio with music by Philip Glass. Anyway, so it's a bit highbrow for me. That's why I'm not clever enough to know about films like that.
It's an extraordinarily long time. So I probably saw it round about that time.
Yeah.
maybe when it was even in the cinema. And I should see it again.
So
but it has some extraordinary cinematography in it.
Sort of thing you might find on Beamer Film or something, I guess, right? So
maybe.
Might try and find that. So, yeah, thanks for that, Richard and Rob. Brilliant. Keep them coming, folks. We'll need to do ours.
Come on.
So, do you want to do yours first? We'll try and smash through these in a few minutes.
I may be holding up things, but let me just do a thing. Okay. Where are my things? Here we are. Here are my things. Let's go with album.
It's gone blonde on blonde. For those not watching on YouTube, Keith is holding up.
Not watching YouTube, I'm holding Bob Dylan's Blonde.
Blonde.
In particular, Sony Legacy Edition double CD. I don't know why it fits on one. I don't know why.
Marketing, I believe that's called.
Marketing. Probably it is a box affair. One of the greatest albums ever made, with some of the greatest songs ever written. And I'm just going to, because I can, Radio Day Woman numbers 12 and 35, Just Like a Woman. Stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again. Visions of Johanna, Temporary Like Achilles, Leopard Skin Pillbox Hat, Sad-Eyed Lily of the Lowlands, I Want You, Absolutely Sweet Marie, From Where I Get My Nickname. And read, I would suggest, if people haven't listened to it, listen to it. Like Jack Black in High Fidelity in the record shop, telling someone to listen to it, you should listen to it. There's only one track that sort of slightly outstays its welcome, and that's Pledging My Time, the slow blues, but we won't, we won't criticize too much. The reading the Wikipedia for this is fantastic. It's a hell of a story. I'll only pick one little thing out about that. It's when the musicians started doing Sad-Eyed Lily of the Lowlands, Bob launched into it, and they're playing, and at each appropriate time they keep coming to sort of some kind of a crescendo. I think, the end must be coming now. 5.5 minutes in, here we go, lads, and they're building up the tension, and the volume's going up, and they're getting more committed to it. And then the volume comes down again, and Bob goes into the next verse. At about 11.5 minutes, he actually finishes. That's just one of the stories. There are many. And again, high watermark. Is it Bob's? Got to be there. It's got to be up there.
Yeah. Okay. Good one.
Okay. What have we got? What have we got here? We've got box set. Well, they're not in a box anymore because I'm taking the box off. It's
Early Doors.
I went for the Early Doors season 1 and 2, the only ones there have ever been.
Yeah.
Filmed entirely in one room. Well, not one room, but one
pretty
set.
Much. Yep.
Proper
sitcom.
Ken's in the bath every now and again. It's his mum's upstairs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing I think I like about it is that there is no one out of the cast that is dislikable.
That's right.
No one is playing. Well, there is a vague villain, Mel's estranged dad, who does appear.
He gets his comeuppance very quickly, doesn't he?
Does get his comeuppance. But even him, I couldn't find it in my heart to dislike him either.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's
just ensemble.
Every single character in. I'm going to read the back. I'm going to read the back of the thing. I'm going to take my glasses off because it's very tiny writing here, folks. Welcome to the Grapes, a northern pub full of warmth, good cheer, and nicotine, where the regulars ponder their lives, loves, and who's been leaving fag ends and block urinals. Will Ken, the landlord, ever find out? Does Melanie ever find her real dad? Will Jean get to go to Crete? Who did Father Janice's baby? Can crime crack itself? Will Eddie get to share his concern over the installation of temporary traffic lights on Samuel Street? Does anyone give a toss? No.
Yep.
Old Tommy, and there's many other characters. Tanya from series 2.
Yep.
Will she get off with Ken?
And they're all on BBC iPlayer, by the way. So I watched them all quite recently. So if you can get to the BBC iPlayer, highly recommended. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left, Captain.
Have we?
Yeah. So I have to speed
Bill Stevenson's Cryptonomicon, sort of fantasy historical novel. It has real characters in it. It has fictional interpretation of what those real characters do. It's set in 2 time frames, one being cryptonography in World War II. So there's Alan Turing and there's Bletchley Park and all those kind of guys in. And then the other one is creating a data haven in ostensibly the Philippines, I think, linked by descendants of characters from the first one to the second one to the first one, rather. It's 918 pages. You'll either love it like me, or you'll go, what the hell is this rubbish?
Okay. It's something to work on. It's the only book you've got, so yeah.
There you are. Just see the camera vibrate there as I put it down on the table. Okay, go.
Did you do movie? Did I miss that?
Oh, did I do movie? What did I do movie? Oh, yeah, I didn't fish that one out, did I? It's in there somewhere. Almost Famous. The Cameron Crowe story of a 70s rock band called Stillwater.
Yeah.
Billy Crudup, Kate Hudson. Fantastic. Frances McDormand's in there too. It's just a movie that qualifies for this. It's good, but also I've watched it many, many times, and I can always put it on and not get bored and watch the whole thing.
Yep.
That's why.
I've not seen that. I need to watch that. I think you've mentioned that before.
Man.
Right, I'll smash through mine because mine don't need much explaining. Mine are fairly route one. Apart from the first one, probably, which is the album, which I didn't think to bring any physical copies, which I don't.
Don't matter.
Anyway, whatever. So the album I'm going to choose is Highland Hard Rain, Aztec Camera. That won't come as a surprise to you, probably. Had a profound effect on my life, that album did. Not when it came out, but about 3 or 4 years later. And maybe I'll do a deep dive. We can do a deep dive one day on things that profoundly affected us. So that'll be one. So I won't go into it now, but it's a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. Recorded by a teenager, written and recorded by a teenager. It's marvellous. Yeah. And his music, Roddy Frame's music, has stayed with me ever since, really, all these years later. That was 40 years ago that came out. My movie, again, it's one that you just want to put on and not ever get tired of, and that's Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Can't really go wrong with that. It's a fairly obvious choice, I think, but it was easy, that one. The TV box set, I narrowed it down to 2, and I've written them both down here, and I'm going to decide now. Because it came down to either The Office, US, which is just marvellous, and there's so much of it, or Only Fools and Horses, the box set. And I went with Only Fools and Horses because I can never tire of that. This is a journey, it went over all those years. I went from that to that and everything that happened in between. And so many, talk about ensemble cast, so many characters. Yeah. So that was a no-brainer as well. And for my book, well, technically it's a trilogy, but you can get it in one volume. So
fortunately, good.
It's a big one volume, which is Lord of the Rings. Again, can't really go wrong. I've read them a couple of times. And you'd be digging into that forever, I think.
Yeah.
So that was that. Let us know yours, folks. We've only got like a minute left on this call, so let us know your choices. There was one on Facebook which I didn't get round to, but you've seen it on our socials.
We'll carry on doing them. Just let us know, and we'll carry on slotting them in.
Yeah, and if you want to come on, it'd be great. If you want to come on and talk about them, that'd be excellent. We'd love that. So that's it, I reckon. Shall we get out of here? Leave these poor people alone.
We should go. Don't forget, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, do that thing down there.
All that stuff. And we'll see you later. Good. So say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
Bye, folks. See you later.